What? Hold on. Oh, you might be rolling. Yep. Welcome to another episode of Pels in the Blender. It's me, A. Davis. I got my boy Mike B with me. What's good, Mike?
What up, bro? Appreciate you having me on the show.
Cooling, dog. Cooling for sure. So essentially, we know we in the group together and whatnot. So we kind of always josing and whatnot. So I just kind of wanted to touch base, like with free agency popping and everything. Everybody been kind of talking about how wild the West is, how strong the West is, and I got some pretty wild takes. You may not agree with all of them, but
Yeah,
I think this one we might be a little bit feeling similar with, I guess. So we're gonna kind of break down the West a little bit. But first, today been a pretty exciting day, you heard me, from the free agency standpoint. So we gotta touch on that as far as I guess the biggest news. Well, actually, what would you say is the biggest news? Is it Miles technically, or is it Dame, the Dame move?
I think I would probably say the. I think you got a one A
Hold
one
on,
B
hold on.
situation.
We don't care. We everything is about the Pelicans. We coming at everything from the Pelicans perspective too. So like how it impact the Pelicans. But go ahead.
Um, it's one of them situations where like the picks, I guess, in a sense, are like flip. So like we were
Right.
upset with the Indy pick, you know what I'm saying? Because we traded that to Atlanta to get
Right.
Derek Queen. So now you have this situation where I was like, well, look, if the Bucks are good, then I mean, if the Bucks, if Giannis leaves and we suck, it's gonna be a high pick for Atlanta.
Facts.
It's pretty much pointing to like Milwaukee gonna run it, and as long as you have Giannis there,
You
you
gonna do
pretty much
something.
guaranteed to be a top 6 seed in the
Facts.
East. You might be higher than that now because like I've been looking at all these projected lineups for like Boston, and that looks terrible.
Right.
So I would say, as long as you have Giannis, you got Miles Turner, who's everyone's saying is pretty much a younger Brooke Lopez in a sense.
Yeah.
Shoot the three and block shots. He ain't gonna rebound the best, but he gonna shoot and block shots. I still think the rest of their team is pretty weak. I like Gary Trent. They
Mm,
still got a lot more work to do, but I think that for next year, it works out. Now, from the Indy side of it, I still think Indy still has enough to make the playoffs,
right,
even
right.
without Halliburton and Miles Turner. Miles Turner was good, but I'm like, man, you got
See,
Matherin who can
so
probably step into a starting role. You got Nemar, you got
what's your boy? Jarris Walker?
Jarris Walker. You know what
Mm,
I mean? And then they picked up some guards in the draft that are more pro ready now, and Cam
yeah.
Jones and stuff like that. So like they're older players that you can play now. And then you got arguably a top what you have a top 5 coach in the NBA right now, and probably arguably a top 15 coach in all of basketball ever.
In order for them to, that's a big statement. That's a conversation for another day in itself. The Rick Carlisle top 15. I'm with it, but definitely would like
Yeah,
to dive into that one. But I agree for the most part, because if from the Pelicans perspective, you only need the Bucks to be okay this year. Like we're not really stressing on 27 anyway, because you still got that pick. If Even if Giannis say I'm gonna play the first half of the season, well, Giannis the first half of the season with all, like you said, with all the other teams that's out, you still might be fighting for third, fourth in the West. I mean, in the East. I'm sorry, like Boston down. You don't know what technically Indy gonna be. You don't know what Cleveland gonna look like. Most of them teams should still be good, but like who really took a step up in the East other than what Orlando probably gonna be a little bit better. Atlanta probably gonna be a little bit better based on the moves. But other than that, like who else really just significantly improved to where you feel like the Bucks gonna bottom out? They have to legitimately unless Doc Rivers really that bad. And I mean,
I think Doc Rivers that bad.
Doc might be that bad. So you always gotta account for whatever Doc might pull. But other than that, like I think the Miles Turner move ensures next year that I don't want to say ensures because injuries obviously can happen, but if you assume that everybody healthy, it kind of ensures that at least for the first half of the season, Milwaukee's going to try to be competitive.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I think the whole year, unless Giannis goes down, the entire year they're going to be competitive, right? So like, I think you could run into a situation where Giannis they ball out this year, they get to the playoffs and they lose in the first round again, which they've lost in the first round since the playoffs started. And Giannis is like, this ain't working.
that's
Like,
still
I'm out.
cool. And that worked. And realistically, that worked best for us. Like that's that's the situation you want best. Them they kind of
Absolutely.
they not go all in, but they make moves to kind of do their thing this year, and then it don't work out, or they get in the play in or something. Not the play. We need them to make the playoffs, but they get in the playoffs, they win a round or lose or something like that, and then Giannis be like, you know what, dog, I'm out. So now your 27 pick got major value. Um, Real quick, the Indiana aspect of it. Um, I personally think that Indiana, like, yes, they moved the pick, so they got their own pick next year. But realistically, we kind of maximize the value of that pick right now anyway. Like, I can't see a coach like Rick Carlisle with that team necessarily tanking. So I don't really think you're losing too much with that pick. Plus, if you need like when in the Joe Dumars interview, he was like, we needed more assets to be able to make them like to be able to move around. So if Derek Queen produced, you done already, you know what I mean, got your value off the indie pick. So
Yeah.
I don't want, yeah, I think it's straight. Like we don't have to talk too much about it because it's the East and we supposed to be taking on the West. Real quick, what you think about Dame and them just kind of letting them go?
I mean, hell, they didn't want him to begin with. I mean, Dame didn't want them to begin with. Let me say that. You know, that
Yeah,
man said, send me to Portland. I mean, send me to Miami.
facts.
And they sent him to Milwaukee. Now it gave him a chance to win. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It just the team itself just Milwaukee's just
Never
old.
worked.
They're
Not
old.
only are they old, they've been hurt every like you hadn't had Giannis or Dame, like you haven't had Giannis and Dame like in the playoffs for the 2 seasons he was there. The first year you had Dame and Chris Middleton, where Chris Middleton showing he still had game. And then last year you got Giannis, Chris Middleton gone for Kuzma and Dame go down. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
they
Bro.
tried. And I like the fact that they tried. Even though they failed, like you still took swings. Like, yeah, it didn't work out, but like trading for Dame at the time, everybody was like, oh yeah, Milwaukee,
Absolutely.
everything work out, you got a shot in the East.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I just think I know we're trying to move on, but I just think to your point, like you make the move, like it don't work. Waving Dame is like, look, Dame's gonna be 36 when he come back, essentially. He's gonna be 36. He an undersized guard off
thanks.
an Achilles. There's only one player in all of the NBA that seemingly got better when they tore their Achilles.
Right,
And that's Kevin Durant. And he's
right.
arguably one of the greatest players ever. The
Clearly
man
a
was a
unicorn.
50-40-90 before his Achilles, and he's still 50-40, like 92 tearing
Yeah,
his Achilles as he
yeah.
got older. Like that don't happen. So it's
And
like
he's
all these
7 feet.
other people that tore their Achilles, like I don't know what Jason Tatum is gonna be back. I don't know what DeJounte Murray gonna look like. I don't know what Dame and Holly. They're younger, but
Yeah,
Dame, man, you're 36 tearing your Achilles, not 29 like KD.
yeah. I'll take a cheap fly on Dame. I ain't tripping. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely.
Yeah, like if I
Absolutely.
get them for less than nothing, you still get bread. Like I'd do it if I was like trying to make a move.
For sure.
So let's kind of move on to obviously yesterday the Pels signed Looney, you know what I mean, veteran center from Golden State, pool, pair him back up with Poole and kind of get that Golden State connection going on. They obviously made the draft and brought in Fizz and Queen and all of that. So what you think? How do you think all of the new additions like improve the roster for this season coming up?
I mean, you can say the roster is more improved now than it was last season. Like out the gate. You
Absolutely.
could probably even argue, I'll say this. I won't say the year before, because I do think highly of Najee and Dyson, or how good they
Mhm.
were. But last year, absolutely, I think you were very top heavy last year, which is the minute one person went down, like I mean everybody went down, but like
Yeah,
you didn't really have no like true bench last year. Like you really relied on Jordan Hawkins to be your guy because it was
right.
Jordan Hawkins, and then I think everybody else on the bench were like on 1 year deals. Like they were all minimum contract guys. Like you had Hawkins, Jose, Javante Green,
Yeah,
uh, Kane. You know, all
yeah.
of them. Like
Moving, you see.
JRE. Like that. Like you're easily better now than you
A1.
were last season.
Yeah. And last year you didn't even know. And I always look for like little signs to kind of determine like how a season's gonna go. Bro, we didn't even know what the starting lineup was gonna be. Like
Yeah,
we sitting there wondering, and then Trey went down beginning of the season. So like he wasn't there at the very beginning. So like you already starting the season, like am I like putting bad juju in the air as far as like I ain't gonna reveal who my lineup is. It's like, though, we the Pelicans, bro. You could tell who the lineup is. Don't like it ain't
well,
that big deal.
Trey go down, and then you have Bi and Zion don't play a single preseason game together.
Facts.
Like,
Yeah.
like, and then
You
to start
couldn't
this,
tell,
then
bro.
opening night, you don't have Zion, and
Yeah,
it's just like what, like,
yeah.
you know what I
And
mean? So
Bird break his hand and
it just told you, like, honestly, them they could say it, them dudes didn't get along with each other, like,
no.
and it was obvious. Even when they went to like the the little tournament when we went to Vegas and
In
got blown out
season,
by the Lakers, and they were sitting next to each other in the presser, you
the
could
in
just
season
tell
and
to me
the
that it was forced. It was like, yeah,
yeah,
we cool, like, you know what I mean,
yeah.
but it ain't no like, yeah,
It
that's
ain't
my
like
dog.
OKC. He ain't like
Yeah,
the OKC
yeah,
juice.
it
Like,
ain't like
really
that.
rock.
Yeah,
I
so
like we talk about that too. Zion kind of like that. That I think that's something that need to change. So I think the team, and we kind of talk about it, but I think the team is younger. I think they're more athletic. I think they have better playmakers. I think they're not as Zion dependent. And I think last scene, we know that Zion and Trey are a better pair than Zion and BI was. That's not to say that Trey is a better player than BI, but from a production standpoint, from a winning standpoint, anytime, in my opinion at least, that you've seen them two for extended stretches is, is yielded pretty decent results. And Trey been trying to get the start, you know what I mean, the starting spot, a more significant role. So I think coming in this year, he's like the clear number two, or at least should be the clear number two. Zion, the clear number one, which was a problem in the previous seasons and stuff like that. I think those dudes coming in like chip on shoulder, and like I think the team is absolutely better. I think they're built more to sustain, especially in the regular season. I only care right now about the regular season, by the way. Like
yes,
people who want to talk the playoffs and stuff, I worry about the playoffs when we could consistently get to the playoffs. I just want to style of players you bring in, just consistently win regular season games. And I think you really got like a shot to do that with the roster that they putting together. What you think?
no, I agree. Like I said, and I know we're gonna dive further into it, but it's just like you got to have that type of like Bi just didn't mesh with Zion, and much respect to Bi, he had a lot of great moments here,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't mesh. Like
Right.
you need someone, you need to be able to spread the floor with Zion, and like essentially Bi and Zion operate in the same area. Like they're all mid range. They're both the mid range. Even Dejounte Murray to an extent, but he changed his shot diet. You know what I mean? When he got with Trey in Atlanta to here, like he sort of changed his shot more threes and everything like that. But I think like adding in to your point, adding in more athleticism, adding in more ball handlers and playmakers is
Yeah,
important.
bro.
You know what I mean? Because we didn't have like bro. Once
Other than Jose, who
they will blitz Bi at half court. They will blitz Bi at half court, and
mm,
once they blitz Bi at half court, that was pretty much it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
CJ could do it for a while, but CJ was older. So once you get blitzed at CJ, I remember we were there together for the playoff game against
yeah.
the Suns, and they blitzed CJ at half court, and that
Turn
pretty much
that
ended
bit
the
over.
game. That
Yeah,
ended the
turn that
game.
bit over.
Like you know what I'm saying? You're not as athletic, you're slower, you're older. So just getting younger. We have the oldest player on the team is Looney at 29.
Yeah. So facts. And to the CJ being older point, like even if they wanted to play, like when they normally start rolling, they play faster, they play up and down because we all think that Willie Green is like a deficit, like you know what I mean, like he's not a great coach, but when they typically get the running and they play up and down, like they play well, but CJ can't sustain. Come the end of the season, like body breaking down, shots start, you know what I mean, going. And again, you asking CJ to do way more than you should be asking him to do when he gotta be the second option sometimes the first option. By the time he find his role as the third or the second or whatever, like he gassed towards the end of the season. That typically shouldn't be the a problem with Poole, Queen, Fears. Even if you do keep Hawk, whatever you do with the roster right now, you should be more equipped to play a style that can sustain throughout the regular season, to where you ain't at the end of these seasons and like you could tell CJ ain't got no legs.
I agree. Definitely, like pace. I think playing with pace is good. That, and not to keep like beating on a dead horse with the BI, but he was also a guy that didn't play with pace. He would slow the game up. Like he's not the fastest or quickest guy. But going into this season, with Poole starting and Trey, and we can assume the starting lineup is probably going to be Poole, Herb, Trey, Zion. I would assume Eves.
Eves.
You know what I mean?
Safe assumption.
Yeah, like I would assume Eves, which I like. That's fine. And then you got Looney as probably your second big.
I think Looney like a 15-minute a game kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a perfect anywhere from 15 to 20, depending on the nights. If he's getting foul trouble, then you might get Carlo. Carlo's gonna get a lot of DMPs, I think. But I do think like if he does play, hey, we need you to give us anywhere from about 8 to 10 minutes and spread the floor for Zion. You know what I mean? Because that corner three that he was making is a thing. Then like that opens up the Pelicans' offense even more. So,
and even from a defensive aspect, when you mention like the bigs and Carlo was hella athletic. Like he was get back doing a good job of like rim protecting when he was in the game. You know what I mean? Like a couple chase downs. On the defensive boards, he was solid when he was in the game. So I think the big rotation is absolutely improved, especially if you've seen the graphic of what we started with this year compared to what they had last year. Tice, rookie Eves, and Carlo wasn't even on the bench to start the season. Who was the third?
JRE was our big. He was
JRE was considered a big. Come on,
and Trey Jemison.
Yeah,
not all about Trey. Like that's what we like. We literally started the season with Daniel Tice as our starting center for game 1.
Right.
So David Griffin made us try to make us believe that like because we saw him in the Olympics.
Yeah,
like come on, man.
Yeah. So if you start the season like you say with Queen, year 2 Missy, higher prospect, higher potential, like talent level based on like the draft and stuff, Queen, Looney, professional, actual starting caliber center. If you need him to start games, not saying he got to play the whole game, but if you need Looney to go out there and start games and be competent, you could get that. And you still got Carlo, who's been around for a while. So I like that. So let's kind of dive into the West and really, really break this down, man, because people constantly talking about, the West is tough. The West got that smoke. And realistically, I personally don't see it that way. So, and this is even including the teams making moves. The teams making moves, you kind of got a benefit in a sense because it was already what we think, or at least what I think, was the good teams. So, like, it's not like you got bottom feeders getting better. So, how we gonna do it is we'll talk about like the teams that we think are the definite contenders, like and explain why we think they contenders, and then kind of go from there.
That worked for me.
So for me, I'm gonna give the only teams that I think are legitimate, like they're significantly better than us. They for sure gonna make the playoffs. Like if we see that team, even in the regular, like I wouldn't be surprised if we don't beat them in a regular season type. Like that, what I mean by better than us. OKC, Denver, and Houston. Like those are the only three teams I think in the West that are like, okay, lock them in. It's better. What you think?
I agree, and I would say that there's a tier break between OKC, Houston, and Denver. Like I think if you have OKC up here, then the next two are Houston and Denver. And honestly, a lot of that weight is being pulled by Joker.
Facts.
Like,
Even with the moves, even with the
yeah,
moves. So they just bring in older Bruce Brown. Okay. Cam Thomas, like, is he an upgrade over Michael Porter Jr.? Maybe. Let's
their
say they,
stats. They put up their stats. They had up their stats that they're exactly the same.
yeah.
Exactly. 17 points a game, 5 rebounds, like 2 or 3 assists, and they both shoot like 39% from three. It's just
So
that Cam was cheaper, which allowed them to get Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway in, and
right.
bring those type of players in.
So they bring in Tim Hardaway, which we know Tim can hoop, but he's streaky. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Streaky at best. And they bring in JV, former Pell. We love JV, but JV old. And I'm not saying that he not gonna his minutes that he gonna play for Denver, style of play and everything. I think he's gonna be very effective for them. But that's still a older team, veteran team. Are they gonna be able to sustain like that during the season? Like I still got questions about Denver as well. I think they biggest hindrance last year was the shooting, and they improved that somewhat, but I don't think Denver took a significant jump. But I'm gonna give Joker the respect, you know what I mean? And then uh like the resume that he's put together, the respect of saying, okay, that dude gonna be a contender in the West.
yeah,
And yeah, and as far as Houston, like Houston has gotten better. I think they've gotten significantly better, but I still got questions about Houston. Intense defense, absolutely. They got athletes. They got, you know what I mean. Amen looked like he a superstar, Sengun, but like KD come postseason time ain't really been. I don't want to say not doing his part, but bro, I done seen y'all swept. I done seen y'all like, and it's a team thing. Don't get me wrong, but like we done seen them in teams in games where you thought they were gonna be competitive, get blasted. You know what I'm saying? Like we done seen them get swept. You done seen them lose by damn near 50. You know what I mean? So like I know KD and KD's, and I don't want to go into the injuries, but it's not like KD playing at this age playing 70 games a season, which I'm pretty they're a team that's built to sustain that. But outside of KD and Van Vliet and Sengun, like where the offense?
Oh well, I think you're gonna get. First of all, I mean, Amen Thompson gonna average
Athleticism alone.
like
Yeah.
just off of steals and stuff like that. He's gonna be a double figure scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sengun gonna obviously give you 20 and 10 or whatever the case may be there.
Yeah.
Fred gonna give you his, where he
Whatever
worked.
Fred do.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're definitely more capable of sustaining,
Yeah.
when
They
KD
could
don't
sustain
play,
KD being
right?
out.
Like you add in like maybe Reed Shepard comes in and is able to contribute. You know what I mean? They
Mm-hmm.
added Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a 3-and-D player who could hit a few threes. You know what I mean? Because like even if KD is not there, let's say if Dorian has to start at the small forward, get a few
Yeah.
spot minutes, you still got Sengun
I forgot
and
all about
Fred.
Jabari.
Yeah, and you got Jabari. So you got the
You got heat.
yeah, and then you got the size to go against like
Any
a
team.
go against OKC.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And like, yeah, KD's been swept and stuff like that, but I like still at the end of the day, he averaged 26, 50, 40, 90. 50,
Yeah.
40, 90, averaging 26. And like
Yeah.
Phoenix was 33 and 29 this year when he played. So when he didn't play, they were just below 500. They were
Yeah.
bad. You know what I mean? So like you go into it now, it's like, hey, look, we're gonna run the offense through Sengun and KD, you just running
catch
through
it,
screens,
basically.
catch and shoot, and running through screens. Almost essentially like, hey, when he was with Golden State, it's just like, look, Steph gonna be the focal point. KD, you probably gonna have a lot of one-on-one because we're gonna be blitzing stuff. So
Facts.
you get to go out there and win Finals MVP and be portrayed as the best player in the finals because
Never see a
they
double
all
team.
worried about stuff.
Never see a double team.
Yeah, so I do think, like I said, like I just think like look, OKC clearly were the best team this year,
Fact.
and
Start to,
they
start to finish.
about to get a lottery pick from last year back into their lineup.
Yeah.
Um, Now I will say Jalen Williams got surgery on his wrist, and they said he's going to be out a minimum of 12 weeks.
Jeez. He
So
got
that's
time, but you still got to shake back.
exactly. So you're talking about like he may be back before the season start, but
Mhm.
like you said, it's gonna take a while. So why it takes a while? Like maybe
Do they
y'all
stumble
don't
out
finish
the
one.
gate some?
Yeah,
Do they stumble out the gate? So
exactly. They're
I
gonna
think
still make it. Obviously, they're gonna still like you got
you
Shea,
got
you got,
MVP
you
Shea.
got
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, you got enough to where. But I do think like that's gonna be a reason. Like if you tell me they don't finish first in the West next year, and you say that, I was like I could believe it. But
Yeah. But three, I don't think they coming out of like third seed or something like
no,
that. Like
not
yeah.
at all.
So we kind of in agreement on the top three. The next tier is kind of like really where you start kind of kicking it, like where it get a little shaky for me. So if you have OKC as the, let's say, the clear cut one, the next tier you would say is Houston and Denver. I think we agree on that respectfully. That next tier under that, how I look at it is like I think we could be in that tier. And this is, I look at how I guess I describe it as like teams that we should be equivalent to at the worst. And I got San Antonio, Memphis, San Antonio, Memphis, us, the Lakers, Dallas, Clippers, and mini. So Dallas, Clippers, mini, San Antonio, Memphis, and the Lakers. I think all of those teams, you could throw us in a pot with them and say, I wouldn't be surprised if we were better than them or at least on the same level as them. So
Absolutely.
so I give you my reasoning behind why real quick, and then I'll let you kind of go.
All right.
So first off with Dallas, Dallas got a good roster. Absolutely got a good roster. But you starting your season off without, I mean, AD's your best player, but like Kyrie's your second best player, and that dude not no regular second best player. Like I think Cooper's gonna be good, but can the production that we get from Fears and Queen equal what the production of Cooper? If so, I call that a wash. After with Kyrie being out, AD and Zion wash to me. Like when Zion's hooping, he MVP caliber. When AD hooping, MVP caliber. Other than that, I got Trey Murphy as the best player of between both of those teams. So like I'm taking Trey over Clay. I'm taking Trey over PJ Washington, Lively,
Yes.
whoever else you want to name. And then you got Herb, which from a defensive standpoint, like I don't PJ Washington could guard, but like I think I'd rather, and I don't know if I'm being a homer, but give me Herb over PJ.
Yes. I don't even think he's their best defender. I think their best defender would probably be
Yeah,
outside of AD, outside of Anthony Davis,
yeah,
like Max Christie or honestly Cooper Flag, because that's what he's supposed to be known for, his
yeah.
defense.
It might be Najee, who knows? But
Yeah.
so I'm saying I got questions off about Dallas, and like to start the season with no Kyrie, I can't say you definitely better than us. The Clippers, that's an old team, man. That's an old team. Like I give Ty Lue a lot of respect, obviously, but that team sometimes they start off slow. You know what I mean? It take them a minute to kind of get ramped up. I think while while Kawhi and Harden are both great and Zoo has been coming along, they should be. I guess they should be better than us. But every time I watch us play them, we smash them. Like every time I watch Clippers Pels, like Zion be looking completely unstoppable. You know what I mean? So if we could sustain and be healthy, I think we at least equivalent to them. Memphis, they don't have Bane. Like I don't really believe in Triple J like that. Even I know he signed a big money. Like for Triple J to earn his money, bro, he got to step up like a lot. Like the rebounding is not good. The shooting is inconsistent. Like he's gonna have to take a lot. He's gonna have to be responsible for a lot more of their offense. And like, do you believe in KCP like that? Like,
No, clearly,
not
you see what happened with Orlando. They got rid of him quick.
so. I mean, they. I like who's the backup point guard they brought in.
They got Pippen.
No, they just somebody brought in somebody as a free agent. I can't think of who it
Oh,
was.
Ty Jerome.
Ty Jerome, yeah. So Ty Jerome, kind of doing what that Tyus Jones was for them, because Ja be good for being Ja sometimes, which I love Ja, but still, like, so they got some pieces. But again, what I say that Memphis is after losing Bang, who was like fringe All Star level. Like, do I think they didn't have no significant pieces that they added to where I'm gonna just be like, oh, they much better than us. Who else? San Antonio, and I'm gonna go quick because I know you want to talk. San Antonio and Mini, like, what is San Antonio proving? Like,
San Antonio got the same team. They added Dylan Harper, but they were a lottery team last year, and
yeah,
their entire team was healthy except for Wemby.
exactly. And that's what like you say what you want about Chris Paul. He's not the same player, but I imagine that Chris like kind of helped them win some games they probably wasn't gonna win. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know what Fox is gonna look like a full season with Wemby trying to figure it out. Like, I think he's gonna do his part. And then the Lakers, we don't know what's gonna happen with Brian anyway. Like, is Brian gonna be there? Like, Luka, one of those you gotta give Luka respect, but the talent outside of that ain't enough. Like him and Austin Reeves, like so that's just me. I got us at least with all of those teams. What you think?
No, I agree. I say that's fair. I think with like a team like the Clippers, like they're old. I think they have a high floor
Okay.
in a sense, like with James Harden. Like as long as James Harden is healthy, which he typically is,
Yeah.
like y'all are gonna win 40 plus games, maybe get to 50 because
Right.
he's a great table setter. As long as you have a point guard, like in the like a elite point guard, so to say, he's an elite point guard. Like
Yeah.
turn his game into like an elite. As long as you have an elite point guard, you're
He's
gonna win
gonna
a lot
have
of
it in the
games.
regular season.
You know what I mean? Case in point, Tyrese Halliburton. Like I ain't score a lot, but because I don't turn the ball over a lot, I'm getting
Mhm.
y'all easy opportunities to score. So I think Clippers will still be up there. Again, like I I'll pencil them in anywhere from about 46 to 50 wins.
Okay.
I do like the fact that they added Brook Lopez to give
Mhm.
Zubac less minutes.
Right.
Um, they talking about getting rid of Norman Powell. So like if they lose him, that's you know what I mean?
I don't
Because he
think they
wants a
can
new
afford to
contract.
lose no.
They can't because like you can't rely on Harden and Kawhi as your main scorers with no, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think they have enough scoring if they get rid of Norm. Like
Yeah.
Batum, Derrick Jones, like you don't have enough.
None of those
Like I
dudes
said,
are like career double digit scores. So we're like, unless Zoo
exactly.
about to become, not saying he
Yeah,
can't be an all-star, but like he about to average 25. Like, I
yeah.
don't see
Now
that either.
they still got Bogdanovich too,
Mhm.
but still, you know what I mean. In terms of Memphis, I think it all comes down to what you think of like Gigi Jackson and Jalen Wells. That's the two dudes they draft. You know what I mean? That they found
Yeah,
and drafted in late rounds. Because like to me, Desmond Bain was essentially like CJ in Portland. Like
that's a good
I'm gonna
comparison.
always give you 20. I'm a great shooter.
I'm a he's
I'm not
actually
the
defended. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
like I did, like he defended. Yeah, like right, like he defended. But like Bain was a top 3 point shooter in the NBA.
Yeah, facts.
You
You
know what I
can't
mean?
just replace that dude with KCP.
Exactly. Like you're gonna probably get like the defense, but like the
Mhm.
3 point shooting, you're not gonna get. You're not even
Right.
gonna get like the attacking because Desmond Bain would attack. You know what I mean? Like
Facts.
he was getting to the paint and stuff like that. Like that's not something KCP does.
And there had
I,
moments that Bang was closing games.
exactly. Like Ja gonna be Ja when he plays. He's probably gonna give you 20 plus.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I also not the biggest fan of Triple J. Like I think that's a very expensive contract they gave him.
Yes.
We'll see. I think we'll see what they do with like Zach Edey. But everything I hear, and they trying to bring in another center. So
Didn't they draft somebody? Or didn't they take in the? Well, I mean, you kept Santi. He kept signing
They
to.
signed. They drafted what to do Cedric Coward, so they
There
think
you
he's gonna
go.
be. They think he's gonna be able to like plug and play, like immediately coming. And Grizzlies are pretty good with drafting. Like,
And let me just be about Memphis. I guess be clear. It's not that I'm saying I think they're a bad team, but I just don't think that they're significantly better than us. Like,
oh, not at all.
yeah, like if
I
I
agree.
if I line up Memphis and I line up us, like, and again, who's that coach? Like, do they have a coach? Like,
I really can't remember. I think I feel like they
I think they
hired a
hired
coach.
somebody. I think they hired some. I don't know, but even still, I know who our coach is, and that's a question mark. But if whoever it is unproven,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean.
I
So
agree.
you got to put that as a question mark too. Um,
I
is
would
there
say
anybody?
I would say real quick on Dallas from
Mm-hmm.
we talked about this a little bit when we were texting. Like they gonna defend like no other. Like they got
Yeah,
a bunch of defenders. So
yeah.
like
Gonna
even
get
if they don't score a lot, like you probably not gonna score a lot because they you got Lively, you got 80. You know what I mean? You're gonna have Flag. They all 6'9" and above
yeah,
starting. Like and
yeah.
they're all like above average defenders.
Man, they say they running Cooper at the point.
I mean, Jason. So when Jason Kidd was in LA, when Jason Kidd was the assistant in LA, they had Brandon Ingram still,
Mm-hmm.
and they ran a lot of point guard with him.
Right.
And like Bi not a point guard, neither is Cooper Flag. So I'm
Yeah.
interested to see what their. I mean, I'm assuming their lineup is going to be D'Lo or Den. Well, Dinwiddie didn't sign back yet, but
I
I'm
imagine
assuming
D'Lo gonna start
D'Lo,
that spot too.
Clay, D'Lo, Clay, Flag, 80,
Lively.
and Lively. Dog, everybody that's 6'6" and up.
Yeah.
The whole team.
So again, I think they are a good team. I'm not taking away that they're
Yeah.
going to be a good team, but I don't think that team is significantly better. One, because AD, he have his moments, but he be up, he be down. You still relying on a rookie. Like Lively he was very productive, and we talk about this too. But he also, like you said, played with elite, like all NBA level PG, which in Luca, that makes the game incredibly easy for him. And I think D'Lo's good, but like you saw the drop off in production last year from Lively. So
Yeah.
like we don't know if Lively is like significantly better than Eves. If you put Eves in that situation, what would he look like as well? Because when he
Mm-hmm.
had decent point guard play in the beginning of the season, you was talking about 12 and 10 almost. So I think I would say that Dallas, if you look at the names, they should be better than us, but I don't think they're just like line them up, bro. Like,
Yeah.
being
No, I
like,
agree. I think like it all comes down to Zion when in any of those shit. Like I agree. I think we're in that tier as well, like with
yeah,
Minnesota and all that. Like I said, you got OKC, then
yeah.
you got Houston and Denver, then you got everybody else, and then you got like Utah, like to me, Portland, the
So
Kings,
that's my
all that.
that's the next tier. So like I don't think we touched on Mini too much, but like just to be real simple about Mini, like Mini ain't do nothing but bring back the same team, and they lost Nikhil with the assumption that I think like that Terrence Shannon is going to take the leap and improve. Which I liked him, you know what I mean, and I like Dillingham, but like you still gotta go show it. Like, and I don't want to confuse what they did in the playoff run, because the playoff run is about matchups. You know what I mean? The regular season, if you remember, Mini was an up and down team during the regular season. Like they would hit a stride and then struggle, hit a stride and then struggle. And it took a while before what's your number two? Um
Randall.
Randall. Before Randall found his groove. Remember, Ant was shooting way too many threes. Not way too many threes, but like had to figure out how to play the new style he was trying to play. So like Minnie got a lot of questions as well, to where I don't just think that they're gonna come out and just be like they were the year before when it was, you know what I mean, contending for the 1 seed all season. I just don't see that for them.
I agree. I agree. Like I said, I think losing the kill is going to be bigger than they think. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
Ant has turned himself into like a top 10 player. So as long as
Mm-hmm.
you have a top 10 player,
You're
you're gonna be
gonna
able to compete.
compete.
You still got Gobert, you paid Nas, you know what I'm saying? You still got pieces, but
What you doing with Nas? Nas making 125. He coming
I
off the
mean,
bench.
yeah, you just gave Julius Randle. You
I
just
got
gave
25 mil coming off my pine.
you just gave Randle a bag as well. So
Say, bro, I make 25 million. I need 30. I need 30 plus minutes a game.
I mean, there's a way to get it. You can still get anywhere. Like
Well, I'm just saying, like I'm just saying, like my questions about what they got going on is once you pay me 25 mil, hey bro, that 10 shots a game, that I need more than that. Like I gotta I gotta earn my keep. Like and like you say, you still got Randall, Randall and Gobert. So like, I mean, I guess I don't mind being 125 mil off the bench, but I
it
still
is
got
wild too because the starting lineup going to essentially stay the same. Like the starting lineup is going to stay
yeah,
the same.
bro,
So
that's an expensive 6 man.
it is, and then you got what like DiVincenzo who makes anywhere from like 16 to 18, I think. Um, so
You
like
just
like
got your players; they didn't really improve.
yeah,
So
like I think I I get running it back because what they lost in the was it the Western Conference Finals or was it
yeah,
the semis? It was the
West,
finals, right?
yeah.
Okay, so you went to the finals, so rightfully so. It's just like man, we got to run this back. Like
But you went to the finals as a 6 seed, like
you did,
you know
you
what I
did,
mean? Like you
and you
was
probably don't beat Golden State if Steph don't go
if
down
Steph
because
don't, yeah, Steph don't
you know
pull
what
a
I mean.
hamstring.
Yeah,
We
it's I don't think I don't like I said like I tweeted this. I was like, no, like I watched when we went and played Minnesota last year with nobody. We
and
went into
Zion out
Minnesota.
there, bro. Your first game, like we lost the game, Zion first game back, but the steal and the 360 windmill that this dude just, bro.
In fact, I don't know if you remember the year before that when we won 49 games. We had a
Mm-hmm.
back to back. We played Brooklyn at home, beat them by like 30. They had to fly to Minnesota and play
Yeah,
them, and we dog walked them in
all ball
Minnesota
game.
like that
Yeah,
same night. Everybody was shocked because it's like, oh, Bi and Zion playing back to back.
and this was
And
one seed Minnesota.
yes, and dog walk them people up in there. Like
Yeah,
it's just a bad matchup. Zion is a bad matchup for Minnesota. At the
yeah.
end of the day, like I think like, and I like I said like I think Jamie Daniels is like one of the most overrated people in the league. Like for his contract, let me say that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just like dog, why are you getting 30-something million
You
or
average
close to
12.
it? Like no, I'm sorry, like 20. Like I think
Like
he
you
get
on trade like 27 or something like that. 25, something like that.
based on what? You know what I mean? Like based on what? Why are you getting that? Like
I say he a dog and he stepped up come playoff time. You know what I mean? But
he
again,
did have his game.
if
But
you
right now they have, like you said, they have a dude who's making 125 million coming off the bench.
yeah,
Like,
I don't
what
know.
other teams have that?
Yeah, I just got questions about Minnesota, man, and I know
Absolutely.
we didn't mention them, but like I guess in that same kind of tier is Golden State, like, but I got Golden State old man, like, and are we getting regular season Jimmy, or are we getting like regular season Jimmy is not postseason Jimmy, pre All-Star Jimmy is not post, you know what I'm saying? All-Star Jimmy. So like how's that gonna go in Golden State? What's happening with Kaminga? Like you don't know, like do they have enough sustainable offense? Because if you remember previous to the Jimmy deal, they were bad. Like they were bad. Like they started off strong and then like they were on their way of being like a 12 seed.
Yeah, Steph
So
got hurt and everything. Yep.
yeah, so and then bro, they was putting stuff through so much that like they was like, man, look, he just need a break. Like, and he ain't no younger. So I absolutely think that I think we straight up better than Golden State, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like regular season for sure. Like if we matched up in the playoffs, I don't know because it's stuff, but like regular season alone, I think we will. I think we better than them
To be
consistently.
honest with you, bro, I think that the the reason why like people constantly like talking down on the Pels and stuff like that is only because of the names. Like they see
Yeah,
Zion Williamson and he like the whole thing with like Mariah Mills and stuff like that. Like his name being out there,
yeah,
like it's funny. He's easy to joke on. Jordan Poole, like it's the name. Like
yeah.
they always have the little funny little videos on Jordan Poole. Like Jordan Poole saw the baddies courtside and started doing all
Mhm.
this and that. And I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
like y'all didn't really watch Jordan Poole in Washington. That's fine.
Right.
You got a lot of Washington people saying like, nah, dude was really hooping. Like the second year there, he was much better. Like, cause I'm like, the first year he got there, he's like, damn, like y'all traded me over Draymond to Washington, and I didn't do anything.
So not just that, bro. People, I remember the dialogue of when Poole was in Golden State pre-punch and all of that. Like they were talking about Jordan Poole being like the heir apparent to Steph. Like, oh, when
Yeah.
Steph, oh, we good. Like we got our guy. He
He
can
was the
handle.
new Splash Brother. He was the
Yeah,
next Splash
like
Brother.
it's a pool party. Like we got the bro. You don't just get that name if you can't hoop. And then you go to Washington, a team that's everybody, bro. They were intentionally tanking. Like the dude ain't play over 30 minutes a game. You playing with a bunch of kids. What I can't really hold that season specifically against Jordan Poole when last seen in like a competitive situation, he was a dog. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think I think our team is going to be very surprising, and like you said, the name matters
Yeah.
a lot more.
Again, like we talked before, I don't the whole trade to get Derek Queen. If we were winning, if we were a constant perennial playoff team, no one bats an eye at the trade. But
Yeah,
because we're constantly hurt and never making the playoff, and rightfully so, I get it. But I know that's not what we're
push
talking
back
about.
about
I think
that
that's
too.
just it. Like I
Push
think,
back about that.
yeah. What I what?
So I'm saying I got a little pushback about
Yeah.
the not making the playoff stuff and all of that. So let me run down the last thing about these teams, and then we'll kind of go to that because I want to get your opinion.
All right.
So the the last tier, in my opinion, are like teams that we for sure better than. Like we better than you. Portland, Sacramento, Utah, and Phoenix. Like we better than you. Like we better than you. Like
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
what it boils down to.
Without
Like
question.
Sacramento, no Fox. You might be out of Malik Monk. I don't believe in Doug Christie as a coach. We own them anyway. We've been better than them anyway. Uh Utah is Utah. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know what Utah. We don't even know what Utah gonna do during the season. They probably just gonna go out. They can't afford to be terrible, but they just gonna, you know, they gonna go figure it out. And I don't believe in their roster like that. Portland, Portland towards the end of the season started making a push and played a lot better. And they have talent. Don't get me wrong, but I don't believe Portland better than us. They don't have a Zion on their roster. They don't
No.
have a Trey Murphy on their roster. I don't know if they got a Jordan Poole on their roster. I mean, you could make arguments for like Denny and what Scoop maybe. Like Simon's gone. Like
You got Shaden Sharp.
Shaden gotta take a step for me to be like
He do. Because
we
as of
better.
right now, he's just a high flyer to me.
Yeah, like we better than you. In Phoenix, you got Booker, but like, and I like Jalen Green, but I we better than y'all,
I'm not
dog.
worried about Phoenix. Like
Yeah, like we better than you. So like as of right now, if
now,
you
I will say, not to cut you off, Booker known for giving us 50.
Booker could give us 50 and they still be bad. Like
So
he could bust
I
us
think
up.
honestly though, I think Phoenix is gonna
Surprise.
shock people this year. I don't think they're gonna be contenders or nothing like that. They're definitely at best, their ceiling is a playing team. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think Booker, Jalen Green, because when Jalen Green was just
Good to it,
inconsistent.
bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
was
was just inconsistent. But Jalen Green, Booker, then you got Malawak and Mark Williams. Like you got centers now
yeah,
to
fair.
do what you didn't have. So I think they'll be good enough to be a
They'll
play-in
be
team, but I
competitive.
still think we're easily better than them.
Yeah, like, and when I say we better than, that's not to say that they like, you know, kind of how bad we were last year, like 20-win teams. I ain't saying that, but like, I don't. If we played them, if we have to play them in like with the, you know how we have the regular season series or whatever, you play 4 times, 3 times, like we should get 3 of those games.
Oh, I agree.
Like if it's a 3-game series, we should get 2 of those games. Like I give you one, but like we should pretty much dominate that matchup. That's kind of how I see it. So the biggest thing that most people talk about as far as like the Pelicans, you hit on it as far as like the reputation is why people talk about it like that, right? So I had the standings like at the bottom because like it kind of lets you know like where the teams were and where they finished and stuff like that. But throughout majority of the season and at the end of the season, bro, seeds 2 through 8 was separated by 4 games. Like 2 seed had 52 wins and the 8 seed had 48 wins. That in the Pelicans specifically, other than last year, have been in like the last 3 seasons pretty much have been in that same situation. They've been like you in a you might be in the 3 seed, you might be in the 4 seed, and then you just can't close at the end of the season, and then you 1 game away from like even the year we ended up in the play and having to play the Lakers, you 1 game from the 6 seed, two like with a couple games left, you 2 games from the 4 seed. Like so to say that they like way away, that's just not accurate. Like if you look at how the standings line up and how the games are, like even the seasons where, and hold on because I got it, if the teams that make the playoffs, like the Warriors, the Wolves, stuff like that, like the Warriors, like we said, were terrible. The Lakers were terrible. It took trading for Luka mid-season to like them to balloon to the 3 seed last year. It took the Warriors trading for Jimmy from going from like 12 to they was in the play-in too, wasn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you, bro, y'all a playing team. So like we get a lot of criticism because we the Pelicans, but like these teams not that much better than us. Like you literally talking about 1 or 2 games where that like makes the difference between the Pelicans being the a playing team, which Minnesota been like most of the season a playing team. The Clippers throughout most of the season sometimes are like borderline playing, and then they kind of, they ramp it up and they kind of get going towards the end. Dallas was fighting for the play-in before everybody got hurt. You know what I'm saying? They was kind of right there. They took themselves out. But like most of those teams are like, and then the records are all relatively similar. Like, so I just don't think that like those teams that we talking about the West being like super stacked. Like it's not like other than the top 3 teams we talking about, like OKC ran away with the West. Like there was no team comparable to that team.
Yeah.
And then, beneath that, you'll have like the 2 and 3 seed in most years, at least. They might have a couple games of separation, but sometimes most years between 2 all the way to the 10 seed, you talking about a couple games. And especially
honestly, before that, not to cut you off, the year before that, Minnesota was the one, if I'm not mistaken, and it was like it came down to like the last 2 games of the year.
Yeah.
Like I think OKC finished 2 and Minnesota finished 1, and then Denver was 3 because they lost to the Spurs.
Right.
Like at the end to close out the year, and they put them at the 3 seed and stuff like, and they run it to the Lakers, and Lakers fans were upset because it was like, man, the Spurs beat Denver, now Denver got to see the Lakers in round 1. Exactly. So like it and we go back to that year, right? Like Pels won 49 games. Mm-hmm. They were 0-24 losing going into the 4th quarter.
Bro,
if you win 4 games, you're a 53 win team. Thanks. And you're in the top 6, top 5.
Yeah.
4 games.
And you was in the last 2 weeks of the season, you was the 4 seed. Mm-hmm. It was us and the Clippers, you know what I mean, at the 4 seed. And then you got a home game to lock into the playoffs, and you know what I mean, they lost. But my only thing is, and even bringing it up, is when people be like, man, at best they gonna compete for the play-in. It's like, why? Like, what are these teams done to make them significantly better to where you just saying you can't compete during the regular season? Not to mention, if we're gonna talk about Zion injury history, for the most part, like we've been doing it without your best player. Like you got the 1 year where, like the 1 year, not last year, but the year before that, where he was, well, we were as a unit relatively healthy. But like you still been competing with playing teams and stuff like that while going through injuries throughout the roster. Bi missing time, Zion missing different time, and then CJ go out for a little bit, Herb be out for a little. So even with all of the injuries, you still you still good enough to make the play in. I think what they made the play in other than before last year, they made the play in 3 years in a row. Out of the 3 years in a row, you make the playoffs 2 times, right? And yeah, you made the play in, but like 2 of the years you was in the play in, you talking about 1 game from being the 6 seed. You
Yeah,
2 games from being a 4 seed or something like that. So
absolutely.
you still right there. And I think this team is better equipped than some of those teams.
I would say I just got to see like our bench because, like I said, that was one of the biggest things, right? Like
Mhm.
our we heavily last year, and it's so hard to like judge last year because everybody was hurt, so you don't know what like. And then our bench was bad, so you go by game one, we had no Zion, no Trey, so you would assume Trey was gonna come off the bench again to start the year.
Right.
So you was gonna have DeJounte, CJ, Herb. You had to put somebody else on the bench because
Yeah.
you needed a center.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we never got that answer. We
Yeah.
three like
They didn't even have an opportunity. Like they were so hurt, they didn't even have a chance to make Willie give an answer.
yeah, like we never got that answer. So like
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate because like DeJounte's hurt to start this year. So like what was going to be the lineup? Like if DeJounte say he just had a twisted ankle, you still make this trade for Poole. Is
Mm-hmm.
Poole coming off the bench? Is it going to be DeJounte, Herb, Trey, Zion, and Eves?
I think if I think if DeJounte was healthy, I think he would start. But especially listening to Dumar saying, Poole saying he willing to do whatever. Because how I foresee the season kind of playing out is Poole's gonna start initially, and then when DeJounte comes back, depending on how they playing, obviously, I think they're gonna like kind of bring him back slowly, but eventually he becomes the starter. And then I think depending on what happens, I think they move him. To be honest.
So my question to that is because Poole is extension eligible, I think after like coming this season, but he
Mm-hmm.
still got 2 years left on his contract, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. My question to you, in terms of you saying Poole coming off the bench, you mentioned earlier, you said Naj Reed for 25 million coming off the bench. Poole is making 30.
that was my so that was my thought as well. Poole making 30, what 34,
Yeah.
32, some 34 mil. So like I'm not bringing Poole off the bench. It's like especially to start the season. And if he gets rolling, my only thought about Poole coming off the bench is, and I do think he's gonna play really well. If he's playing really well, I don't think he's coming off the bench.
He's not,
But
and I think he's going to play well.
yeah, but at some point, Fears is the point guard of the future. So like, I don't know how and when they make that transition or whatever, like how that work out. But if Poole is playing well and Fears is playing well, I don't see. I think you using Dejounte's money for like to to make the team better. So I think you go into the season. And realistically, bro, they just gotta kind of tread water. Like it's only a couple teams in the West, like OKC get off the like those crazy starts. You know what I mean? But like for the most part, everybody else be kind of like a couple games or like everybody just kind of like trying to figure out their way until like Christmas time or something like that when you really see teams start to take off. So I think it depends on how those two players are playing, but I think DeJounte's like contract is gonna be the piece that they move to like, you know how let's say Sacramento's playing terrible. I still firmly believe in this, but like if Sacramento's playing terrible and the mind is like I want out, you're gonna see Murray's money be like the piece to go get the piece to where they be like, all right, we gonna make a push. Like I put in a thing like how Siakam for Indy was like that mid-season trade. They just kind of like, all right, we got to do something. We kind of good enough, so let's see what happens. I kind of feel like that's what DeJounte essentially is gonna be for the team.
He might. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I just think it'll be interesting to see because like if Poole is playing, like let's say Poole is balling enough to earn him an extension.
I think
Here.
Poole is 20 is his numbers. I mean, on 30 minutes, he 25, he 24 and 5, 24 and 3, something like that. Is that enough for an extension?
Exactly. That is absolutely like
Mm-hmm.
24 and 3. If he gets, I mean, I don't think he's not going to get that. I don't believe simply because of who's in front of him. Like
No, not 24, 24, like 20 and 4
20.
and 3.
Even still, like I don't having 3 players to score 20 points is like that's not like something a lot of you know what I mean. Even like the prime like the Heatles with LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. Like you had LeBron and Wade with 20s, and then Bosh is at like 17. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Cleveland, like you had,
Kevin Love.
I think maybe Clay averaged 20 when they had KD and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like borderline 20, like 18. To get Poole to 20, even if he shoots a lot of threes, I just think like I don't think there's gonna be enough shots.
But he could play well enough to get the extension, you think?
Yeah. So like if he gets that extension, what do you do with Fears? Because I think Fears is clearly your guard of the future. Based on when you drafted him. You drafted him to be like your guard of the future.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Fears is going to play a lot this year. I think he's probably going to get about 10 minutes a game.
Think?
10 to 12 minutes.
Ooh. Say, bro, you know, my 7th pick can't be playing 10 to 12 minutes.
But here's the thing. While
on this
I
team.
Agree,
team.
But that's the thing. While I agree that you should play more, the trade you made to get Derek Queen and why you have to win, like I say this right now, who's the better NBA player, Jose or Fears?
You gotta say Jose because you haven't even seen Fears on the NBA court yet.
Exactly. Fears is still in his higher. However, the better NBA player right now is Jose. We assume it's Jose. So
I think if I draft you 7, no, because TJ McConnell don't look like that type of dude, and like TJ got impact too. Fears day 1 should be better than Jose if he is what they think that he is.
I think his ceiling is better than Jose. I think most rookies are not better than a lot of the players that teams they go to. LeBron, Wemby, they different. Like,
yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? Like Fears, like I think that currently, like if you're trying to win games, you're gonna go with Jose because like one, like he's bigger, like he ain't taller, he's bigger. Yeah. He knows the ins and outs of the NBA, all that traveling and stuff, like flying, that takes a toll. You know what I mean? You know defenses and stuff like that. So like maybe let's say for the first 30 games of the year, it's Jose getting those minutes and Fears is getting 10 to 12. Because I do think there's a situation where
he's gonna live in the G for a little minute too. I would send him to the G immediately. Like if he's not playing, like I'm not even wasting time, bro. Like go to the G League.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think he's gonna play. I just think it's gonna be
10 minutes.
10 to 12. I don't see where he's getting the 17 to 20. Like Herb, Trey, Eves and Herb out the gate was 26 and 29 minutes a game. But like you had injuries and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really Eves. They just was like after game 1, after the first 2 games, it's like, dog, Eves is better than Tice. Like Eves, you about to start. That wasn't even injuries. That was just like obvious. Like, all right, you better.
You gotta go play. Yeah.
Herb, and even with her, to be honest with you, like, cause you remember Herb was supposed to go to the G League,
right?
And then Josh Hart got hurt, but Josh Hart only missed 4 games, and they was just like, nah, he's gonna start. Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. But like, I just think like, but they play defense, and I think Fierce is going. Like, if you told me that Peavy would get more minutes than Fears, like I
I
wouldn't say
wouldn't
I'd
be
be
shocked,
shocked.
but I'm firing Willie immediately.
I wouldn't be shocked. Well, it depends because if you're winning games, because you play this, if Willie Green gets fired, then the season is a failure. We're losing.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. Um, so and I don't know if how I guess because this is a little off topic or whatever, but like because we mainly talking about how this team stacks up in the West or whatever. With the reports of Borrego, like some people talk about him taking like a lateral position in another job, like right, like talking about going being an assistant for the Knicks, whatever. Cool, whatever. I'm of the mindset that if that happens, Joe Dumars uses the opportunity to put his coaching waiting on the bench, like as the number two. And if like the season starts to teeter a little bit, be like, insert my guy, boom, right the ship, and we rolling. Now, I don't think. Again, I got high expectations for the team based on the talent. So I don't think they're gonna bottom out or nothing like that, or even be bad to where Willie is like he should be fired because of win-loss record. I think Willie is gonna get himself fired because Willie does Willie things. Like bad timeouts, not making the right substitute, like obvious things that when you watch the games, you be like, bro, what are you doing? I think those will be the things that get Willie fired. It don't necessarily mean that the record is bad, but especially if Borrego leave and Joe put his guy on that number two, I think that's also a little something I'm waiting to see how that play out and if that boosts the Pelicans during the season. What you think?
I will see because I think like obviously if Borrego does leave, you're going to bring in an offensive coach because Willie is a defensive guy. So you're
Supposed to
going to
be.
bring in an offensive coach to that spot. It's rare that happens. We'll see. Like I think you're still going to go and do your due diligence. I don't think you should ever do what Milwaukee did: fire your coach and hire a coach and give him a multi-year deal in the same
I
season.
would coach 30-13. If I'm
Exactly.
30-13, I'm not firing that dude.
Yeah. Then
Willie
you
not getting fired if Willie 30-13 in the West, he not getting fired, bro. He getting
no,
an
and he
extension.
shouldn't, right? He
He getting an
shouldn't.
extension.
You know what I mean? Like I still question what Denver and Memphis did.
Yeah, fact.
Like that was Joker
What
is
would
just
Willie
that
have to do to
amazing.
get an extension from you?
What would he have to do?
To get an extension?
Because I think his contract is up in like a year or so like
They,
that.
they say this might be it.
Bro, like I think to get an extension, like you can't be a playing team at all. Like I think you got to finish like arguably top. To me, like
Four,
I don't even think you could sniff even a six. Like I
four,
think you need to be
5 seed,
top
easy.
five. Like, and I don't even expect you to be one or two, but
Yeah.
like 4, 5, yes. Like I think
I'll say this: if they comfortably like in the playoffs during the season, you'd be like, "Hey, bro, the Pelicans gonna make the playoffs." Like, it's not a they gotta win this one and they gotta win that. It's like no, like all right, so you got OKC, Denver, Houston, Pelicans. You'd be like, all right, like do you gotta win the first round series at least? I think.
that too. Like I think if you get out the first round, I think you've pretty much you've improved somewhere. Like
Yeah,
Zion was healthy, and then like the offense in itself just looks, you know what I mean? Because like dog, at this point, this is gonna be what his fifth year or sixth, fifth.
cool.
Willie, this will be Willie's fifth year, right?
Yes, he had the first year they made the play in. Second year they didn't. Third year they made the play in.
And then his
Uh,
last year they didn't.
yeah, last
So
year they
yeah, he made the playoffs twice. The play
mm-hmm.
in, yeah, okay,
Did the
so
play
yeah,
in
this
3 times, playoffs twice. Were god awful, and then right
so
now,
this is coming into his fifth year. At this point, and one of my biggest issues, even with the Willie Green hiring, was like his true lack of experience coaching.
mm-hmm.
Like you coached, I think 2 years in Golden State, and I think you did 1 year in Phoenix, or maybe 2 years in Phoenix,
Mhm.
and like you only have 4 years of assistant coach, period. Like before you got the head coaching job, like like Udoka had 10 years of being an assistant coach before becoming a head coach, right?
Yeah,
And like not every assistant coach does that. But I just think you needed more experience before becoming a head coach. Like I still have issues with JJ Redick being the coach, but
facts.
you just so happen to get LeBron and AD
Right
to
place at
start.
the right time.
Yeah, you got LeBron and AD,
Yeah,
and now you got LeBron and Luca. So it's like
yeah.
even if you a bad coach, like
You could do a decent enough job to. And Austin Reeves took a step that the late.
yeah,
It's the Lakers. You know what I mean?
yeah. But I say all that to say like I think if he makes it past the first round, I do think that like that's a conversation to be had. Like
Hmm.
like because clearly you improve somewhere. Like
Yeah,
something happened, something
something
clicked.
was done right.
Yeah,
I
but
think there's a world, and I don't think Joe Dumars is this kind of guy. But at the same time, he's fired a lot of coaches in his day. Like he don't care nothing about firing a coach. Um, I think even if, let's say, they win a bunch of games, right? They win a bunch of games, even if they win a series. I could see Joe Dumars, depending on how Willie specifically performs, being like, "Nah, you still gone. Like you still gone." I think this season is a uh so let's say if there really was the mandate, I think the mandate was to keep, let's say the mandate was to keep Willie, get rid of Z. I think the trade-off was, okay, I'll keep Willie only if I can keep Z, and we see how I roll out this year. I think next year is gonna be like, depending on, even if they do well, if he like that, them numbers that we talked about, the 0 and 20 something in closing games and stuff, because again they won 49 games still. If it's something like that, that dude getting fired.
yeah,
Like,
I would say like if they do something like that again and they end up like a playing team, something like that, I agree. Like I said, I think you have to make it out of the first round.
I if they that bad in closing games, I think Joe, the Hooper and Joe, know enough to be like, we shouldn't be this bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, that was the difference in my opinion between David Griffin and Joe Dumars. Like Joe's still a baller at the end of the day. And Hoop was watching the games like, bro, come on, dog. Like you costing us games. You on pace. You could almost be a 55, 58 win team. Like, this is insane. So, but that was pretty much it overall. So if we had to call it today, if you had to call it today, where do you think the Pels finish in the West? It is still early. There's a lot of moves that could be made, free agency, trades, all of that, yada yada. Clearly, it's fluid and it changed. But based on the roster construction today, like, where do you have the Pels ranked? Not necessarily saying in a standings perspective, but like, we know who the top three is, right? The Pels would be your what best team in the West
I would probably say right now
right now.
six, like right there above playing playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I do think, like I said, I think Trey is going to take that step. You saw it coming. I think
Yeah,
Trey's going to take that step. I think Zion is all going to come down to him.
facts.
If he plays, he's going to be efficient. He
Yeah,
knows it's going to be his team,
yeah.
and then I think you get that, and you get Jordan Poole, who's like, bro,
Ready to
y'all been disrespecting me, and
yeah.
like I see everything y'all talking about. Like I'm about to give me another contract. I'm about to
Yeah.
hoop.
I'm about to get this money.
I think, yeah, I think we could look at 6 seed or better, but I would say six.
Okay.
Six. If I want to say something, I'd say 6 to 8, but I'm pushing like six being like the top right
Right.
now. Top
I
seed.
was I would say I would say for sure better than us. Houston, Denver, OKC.
Yeah,
I'm not batting an eye at them being better than us. I think we're on par with, but I'll give them the nod to Dallas, and the Clippers because of coaching and like the roster. You know what I mean? Like I think we could play with them even with the being at the coaching deficit. But I think I just give the nod to those teams. So right now I have us six like the sixth ranked rated team in the West. And if that don't mean I think we're gonna finish it. I think we're gonna actually finish higher than six if everything break right. I think we finish 4 to 5 to be honest. But like I got us over starting the season. I got us over many. I got us over Golden State. I got us over Memphis. Like all of those teams.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that's far fetched to say because essentially, if Mini was like almost a playing team last year, I think they were what, six?
Yeah, they made the six. They won like the last game of the game before the last game of the season. I think they won and like
Yeah.
locked up the 6 seed.
So if they're the sixth seed and they lost Nikhil, who's a vital part of it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say they may take a step back. I don't think that's like far fetched to say. Then you probably got disgruntled. Players because you heard the rumors of like, hey, we were trying to trade Rudy and DiVincenzo and Dillingham for KD. So now you got
yeah,
disgruntled people in the locker room like
yeah,
that's trying to get rid of me. Like
yeah.
now you got to carry that. So like there's a lot of like different
And
avenues
I
and
got
stuff that can go.
125 on the bench.
Exactly.
125 on the bench. I need my shots.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, man, this was a good episode, bro. I appreciate you joining in. You know what I'm saying? We'll be able to do some more, have some fun as the season go. I'm about to get back. We gotta tune in and see what happens with free agency. Like everything we talking about literally could change in the next 20 minutes depending on what go on. But as of right now, you know, big shout out to us thinking about the Pels. Look forward to having you on, Mo, my bro. And dribble. Pels in the blender. We are. I saw the dribble like Mike. Man. I was talking about my dog, man. Yeah, we dribble like Mike. All right, man. Appreciate y'all. We out.
y'all be cool. Thank you.
And stream.